Hey, welcome to Bluejay Banter Postgame Show here. We are live at the Let Fly Sports Bar in downtown Omaha after the Jays go down to Marquette in a valiant effort, I will say, though. Hey, thanks for watching. If you can please hit that subscribe button and a like button. It helps us out so much. We're so close to the first tier we want to hit. So tell all your friends to hit that subscribe button for us. It would help us out a ton. Thank you so much. Thanks to our sponsors, CareMinders Home Health Care and Discount Window and Door of Omaha. It's a road game, obviously, so we don't have any guests. So that's where you come in, interactive show. Hit that chat down below if you're watching. Hit that chat, type in your questions, your thoughts, comments on the game. We'll be happy to read them and talk about them as we move forward tonight. Austin, I think you and I kind of have the same vibe on this game. Like, I don't think most Jays fans thought we were going to come in here to Marquette and beat Marquette, who is truly, I mean, I've watched the top 8-10 teams. If you just eye test it, they are up there in the top 5 to me, in the country. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, you know, and we're still trying to adjust from the pop loss, Fedor getting added in, so forth. So we're going through some things. I think there was more positives than negatives tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Competitive, definitely. Didn't get blown out, right? I think I said last post game that Marquette's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
I think we showed a lot of grit and a lot of resilience and just experience. I think early on in this conference play, there were some good things, especially from our young players, that I was happy to see.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, if you look back at the game, Steven Asher, I think, went 1 for 12 or 1 for 13 from 3. Mm-hmm. Okay. Kalk missed more 1-2 footers than I've ever seen him miss ever.
Which is frustrating, especially from a fan's perspective.
Right. So you add those two together and you think, man, you know, there are a lot of buckets there to be had.
The game looks a lot different.
You know, a lot of buckets to be had. Yeah, Jays go down by 8, but there was a point, I think, in the second half, early on, we were down, 15, I think was the max.
Yep.
And it looked like, okay, here comes that run, because it goes back to the end of the first half. It was a 2-point game. I think we turned it over. And then they came down and scored right at the buzzer on a missed shot where we didn't get the rebound.
Finish the half up 4.
Yeah. So before they got the ball to start the second half, boom, they score, and then they started the run.
Yep. Which, you know, it just showed, like I said, some resilience ultimately. Which I think, ultimately this is going to be a good moral loss, which you rarely hear, right? But I think we were able to string together some stops against a very, very elite team who was pressuring us, you know, to lengths where we were starting offense at half court a lot of times. And I think that was putting us in some bad positions.
They were pushing us way out.
They were. And they were their aggressor today, definitely. But we, you know, somehow stuck in the game with them and showed a dogfight. You know, granted, this still is Big East play, right? So night in, night out, generally you're going to get a good game. But proud of the guys, you know, whether they fought it out. As we said, Kalkbrenner missed a few bunnies that we'd like to see him probably just dunk. But at the end of the day, you know, I think there's something to definitely go back and watch the film on. You know, there was some missed box outs by Jemiah that at times he got caught looking, which is some of that too. And we also just got to do a little bit better of take care of the ball. Granted, I think they're number 1 in forcing turnovers. But 12 turnovers, and, you know, honestly, I think Kalkbrenner had a great load of those. So, you know, I think getting Fedor into the mix here over the next week or so is going to be something that we need highly.
Absolutely. And, you know, we beat them on the boards.
Yep.
41-38. Pretty amazing.
Yep.
And I thought, actually, the board effort in the first 10 minutes was outstanding. I noticed that right off the jump.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Before that first TV timeout, you know, we just kind of got out rolling, and we didn't have any turnovers. I think the first like 6 minutes of the game, which is huge playing a Shaka Smart team. But you know, at the end of the day, they're at home. They had home court advantage. You know, we weren't in the building, which, you know, is probably a little louder than we expected to, I think, as the guys. But
yeah,
looked
like they had a pretty.
I think they played
despite school was out, they had a pretty decent crowd.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the way they're playing, they're going to have a good following.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, normally, and like you said, the 12 turnovers. But normally, you know, you play Marquette. That's not bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, that, you look at the stats and you're like, gosh, how did we lose by 8? Because we won the rebounding battle.
Yeah.
They both shot. We shot 40. They shot 41. They were 10 points better from 10 percentage points better from 3, and they made 4 3-pointers. So that's 12. That's 12 points right there. 4 more.
21 points off turnovers they had.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with Marquette. Some of these last games will be having all these turnovers, like the St. John's games.
Right.
There weren't points off turnovers off those. These are pick sixes here.
They're capitalizing.
Yeah.
Which, you know, with somebody like that and at home, you know, on the road, it's not something you can really go out and try to hope to get a win.
We won the battle of the boards. We also made more free throws than our opponent shot, which is always our goal.
Yep.
So there's just we had 18 assists tonight.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so many positives in here, and yet, like you said, we had fast break points, 22-12.
Yep.
You know, but yeah, points off turnovers was 21-10. That was kind of the difference.
And we shot 22%
for 3.
So,
and if you kick out the 1 for 13, we were still 6 of 18. So 33, we'd have actually beat them.
Nitpicking a little bit, but
yeah. You know, they didn't. Like I said, we didn't get their best offensive game.
Absolutely
I've seen them play several times. This was not their best offense. Now, part of that was our defense. Part of that was, man, for a, I don't know, top 10 team in the country, they were like having no part of Kalkbrenner. Like, I was shocked by that. Like, they weren't even trying to score. They would dribble in and then dribble out.
I think a lot of what he does goes unseen a lot of times, right? Especially because we saw the 50-point game, right? And I think that kind of just put people in a place expecting them to score. But, you know, he does so much defensively that most people don't see. And that's the reason he's, you know, 3 times Big East player, the defensive player of the year, right? That you get in there and you see the length, and a lot of that is forcing, you know, a big-time player into that big fella, which you say to hold Cam Jones at 22, which was a quiet 22 in my mind.
That was a quiet 22, man.
Really, I felt we did a really great job.
Wow, that is incredible.
You know, I'll give a lot up to Mac, and it's just the way he was able to play matchups for sure. We were switching a lot.
No doubt. Stevie Mitchell had a big game.
He did.
And he's a tremendous player. You know, Jones, obviously. Joplin's a great player.
Yep.
Gold's a guy you just can't leave open from 3.
Yep.
Just can't leave open.
Which, you know, 8 points. We're not too mad at that.
No,
you know,
but
I think
I thought we did a pretty good job. There was a couple of times we lost him, but for the most part, I thought we did a pretty good job of recognizing when he was on the perimeter.
Absolutely. You know, like you said, there's just a lot of high points, I think, that we could take away from this, especially being on the road, going into another road game, that I think they'll be able to walk away with some confidence, not feeling deflated, right? Which, being on the road and having 2 back-to-backs, I think is generally where you lose some confidence too. But I think this is something to give them some confidence going into the next one.
No question.
Which is going to be tough. Right?
Yeah, and the nice thing too is they have 8 days now before Butler, so they can have a big string of practices. They can do a lot of things and get their mind right. Get Fedor more in tune. You know, Fedor, this ain't Europe. You're playing Marquette. You can't make that pass over to Ashworth, man.
Not at all.
I saw that coming a mile away and go, this thing is going to give you a pick 6, by the way.
He's just still trying to find rhythm, I think. You know, chemistry with guys, as we all know. He hadn't really been playing with the, you know, Group A and B, and now getting off scout team and being able to start getting in some of that good gel and chemistry, I think is just going to be huge, especially, as you said, those 8 next days of practice is going to be a big part of what we see, hopefully, in this Butler game from Fedora.
And Butler's a team that we got to win. Like you got to look at this realistically. Like we've talked about, there's the top four: St. John's, Creighton, Marquette, UConn. Okay, then there's everybody else. You know, you're probably, you know, you're gonna go if you're at Creighton, you're gonna go 2-4 against those top teams. I mean, that wouldn't be just horrible.
That's the hope.
You know what I mean?
That's a hope. Yep.
3-3 would be great.
Yeah.
And we've already got a win against one of those teams, so now we're 1-1.
And I think tonight
you've
just
got
showed
to
us we
take
can
care
play
of
with
your
them.
home court.
Yeah.
And you've got to take care of your home court against the lower tier, and then get 2 or 3, maybe Seton Hall, DePaul, Providence on that lower tier. You're going to be just fine.
I think tonight just showed us that we could play at home, right, against Marquette.
Yes,
them not coming out
absolutely.
Home and, taking home court. I think it just showed, we could play with just about anybody, and I think that's just going to be huge going through, especially playing UConn, right?
I was looking at that. Tonight. We play Marquette on a Saturday, and then UConn like on a Tuesday. Yeah. What a big stretch that is. Both at home. Yeah. That's going to be an incredible stretch.
Need the fans.
Another guy who, everybody, the fans have been all over him, and, we've all documented his struggles was Mason, right?
Yes.
I thought Mason played with great energy tonight, and you look at the stats, he had 5 rebounds tonight.
Yep.
That's big. That's big against a team like Marquette.
Absolutely.
If he can just get one to go down,
that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. And I think, like they kind of touched on, lower leg injury, which I don't think he's been able to find his legs, get some confidence, get his legs under him, right? I think some of that, too, is change of positions, not being comfortable. Some of the same thing with Fedora, right? Granted, he's been running with Team A, Team B, but he doesn't have that full comfort and confidence that he probably should have. And we all can see it, too. Definitely when he touches the ball.
Yeah.
That, last year and the year before, he was more or less catching some balls on the wing and ready to let them fly. And right now, it's kind of something of a second-guessing type of deal.
Trout is starting to get his legs underneath him a little bit.
That one he caught in the first quarter in the corner.
Yes. That was close.
It was reminiscent of Raggi, right?
Yeah.
Like it was quick release, the catch. Even his legs kind of looked like he had 2 right feet. But that was something I was really hyped to see.
He got stuck a couple times with matchups with on Cam Jones. He didn't get blown away.
He did a great job. To where there was times where he was doing a good job, and then they would send it to Kalkbrenner's guy off a switch, and then he kind of got to the paint. But I think he honestly is, the slim down and probably helped a little bit because he's able to move the feet a little more. And, it's just going to come with some time, man. And I think his confidence is definitely on the up.
I thought you couldn't ask a whole lot more from Jackson tonight. I mean, 10 points for a freshman playing in that environment, 10 points, 4-9 from the field, 6 rebounds.
Yep.
And there was one rebound the first half. Where, I've talked about how everybody's so intent on boxing out, they're not going for the ball.
Right.
He flew out of nowhere to go for the ball.
Yep.
Yes.
That was after he, too, had, I think, the first 2 baskets of the game.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's kind of where I started seeing, okay, well, this is reminiscent of number 3, which happy birthday to that guy.
Boom.
Yeah. But, some of that, too, I was a little disappointed that they didn't work him more back into rotations, trying to find him more shots. Granted, he got off early, right? He had a first quick 5 that I would like to see him get a little more touches and just get some more shots up there at the rim that ultimately I think they kind of started looking away. But I don't feel too bad about this loss at all.
Yeah.
At all.
I mean, you just look at when can you find a night when Kalkbrenner shoots under 50%? 4 of 11 tonight. Yeah. But he did have a double-double, 16 and 12.
Yeah. Which he could have had 20, you name it, right?
Yeah,
Which some of those bunnies are tough.
Right. And Jay Green missed a couple, too, today.
He did.
That were close in, just dunked the ball, Jason.
He did.
He only had 2 points, had 6 rebounds, though. But, I mean, I can't pick apart. I mean, Ashworth's not going to have very many 1 for 13s. Kalk's not going to have very many 4 for 11s.
Yep. And on some of those threes, as you saw Ash shooting, I think
Yeah.
some of them were just rush.
Yes,
right?
totally
With all
agree.
that pressure that they had. I think there was one late in the second half where he didn't realize how open he was. Came off the Kalkbrenner screen at the top of the key. They both went with Kalk, and then he just kind of rushed it up, not realizing that, hey, I got a little bit of time, set my feet, actually shoot this one good. To where some of them, though, that you see he's pressing a little bit, knowing that he has to be a little bit more aggressive, not having pop. That, that hurts us at times, but that's just film study. Lucas he's going to have some clips definitely after today that I think too, like I'm saying, they're going to go in this next road game, and I think they're going to show us something that, we're proud of.
Right. Yeah, and then that one time it was kind of strange, some strange possessions in the first half where we threw a long pass down to Kalk, and it looked like the normal where he just turns around and lays it in, and he dished it out.
Yeah.
And that one he dished out to Ashworth had to be 35 plus, and he threw it up.
Yeah.
And he makes those once in a while, so you got to live with them. But that was kind of like, oh God. Then they came down and scored. It was kind of like a 4-point turnaround there.
Physicality, I think, is really what got it. Right, and I think that's what happened with some of those easy baskets. They were being so physical that after times he was thinking he had to rush up, right? That you see him where he's right there at the rim and rushing it at the basket. And I know that was something that I had to really get used to, of like not realizing how open I was, that I just thought I just had to, rush it at the rim.
Right.
That, some of that physicality really got into the play, at the end of the day, to where he was rushing some of those easy baskets, and maybe you just got to dunk some of those too.
Yeah,
right.
Jason, that happened to Jason a couple times tonight. Yeah, and the other thing with Kalk too is like Gold, who is primarily like a 6'10" guy who just shoots threes.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed with his play on the defensive end against Kalkbrenner when he got bodied down there in the post. He was able to shove Kalkbrenner a couple times.
Yeah.
Which must be some weight training in the offseason, man.
I'll give that up to Shaka, though. They play with physicality, really, as a team. And I just think that's just something they embody. That ultimately it was like, hey, I'm tougher than you, really, at the end of the day. And I'm going to make you prove it to me, which, I think that now is coming into Kalk to make sure he has a check-in a little bit, right? And say, I'm this individual who I am. I just put my, shoulder through this guy's chest and finish at the rim, which some of those, like we said, he needs to probably have two hands on the rim, right?
I think the other thing, too, is like long-term for Marquette, way down the road. I mean, they got to get it done in March, man. They have not. When Shaka's been there, they've had some good teams. They have not been able to get it done in March. Yeah. They go out early, and they've got to get over that hurdle, kind of like how we had to get over that hurdle, right? Same kind of thing. But yeah, a good effort tonight. We want to talk about some of our sponsors. First of all, Care Minders Home Health Care, tremendous sponsor here at Bluejay Banter. If you need care for your injured, ill, or senior loved one, please reach out to Care Minders. Go to caremindersnebraska.com. They will show you everything that you need to know going into this whole process, because it's a huge process when something like this happens, when there's a big life change to one of your injured, ill, or senior loved ones. So check them out first, because then when the time comes, you'll be able to just give them a call at 402-532-1383, and they'll be able to walk you through everything they have. You already know what they have on the website, and it'll make your process so much easier. So give them a call, 402-532-1383. Everybody listening out there, hey, fire up that chat. Give us some comments, questions, whatever you have.
Absolutely.
Georgetown moved to 3-0 tonight. Woo, baby.
Yeah.
Now they've had 2 home games, and they had the 1 road game at Seton Hall, I believe. So they haven't had like the toughest path so far. But 3-0 is 3-0.
3-0 is 3-0. It's a Cooley team too, man. So he knows what the Big East is, right?
Kind of reminds me of a couple years ago. Well, not a couple. Gosh, it's probably 8 now. When DePaul had that one good start. under Oliver when he was their coach.
That's the year I think we lost.
They were 3-0.
That's the
they
year
jumped
we
right
lost
out of the gate at 3. Yeah, at home, a home game.
At DePaul.
Okay.
We lost 12 or 15 at DePaul.
Yeah, they jumped out right to 3-0, and then they kind of faded back.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that. They kind of had an easy path to begin with. So something to keep an eye on, though, because they've kind of jumped into that. You got
to think, too, though, right? They got one of their alums is one of those only guys who's had, Big East player, defensive player 4 times, right? So I like to think, it's all in good fun, but I like to think that they kind of know what's at stake here. And I think that's kind of why we saw what we saw game 1 of Big East play, right?
But we're going to have some, like we were just talking, we got that homestand in the middle of February. Marquette, UConn back-to-back. That should be, and then we take a little time out, then we have St. John's on the road. I'm like, well, we play the top 3 teams in the league, boom, boom, boom. So
that's probably by design, though, in a way.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's by great design.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting run. But now the good thing, do you think this is a good thing, coming from your experience, that we play, we played St. John's, we have, 2 tough games again against the top 4.
Right.
And now, is it a good thing that we have 8 days off or a bad thing after this loss?
As a player and as a coach, it's more of that bad thing, right? You have a somewhat of a bitter taste in your mouth because I think they feel they probably beat themselves tonight rather than them getting beat by Marquette, to where they would like to just strap it up and go up, in the next couple nights or so. So where we are as a team, though, I feel like it's a great 8 days. Fedor kind of now getting implemented. Finding a different chemistry, Mason actually getting comfortable in a role, starting to get some of these guys in practice situations that I think for us it's great, but in a general sense, I don't think, 8 days off in the middle of conference play is too great, but they're not in school right now, so it is good probably for a rest standpoint as for the players. But as far as, this loss kind of burning the insides, I think that's not the greatest thing.
What's crazy, we're in a stretch here. We play 4 or 5 on the road too.
Yeah,
that's kind of unusual.
This can make a break.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
And I think we play I can pull up the schedule here, but I think we play not Georgetown. We play Providence at home, and then we go to pull it up here. We got 2-2 in conference right now. So so here's what we have. So we have Butler on the road, as we talked about. Then we come home and play Providence. Then we go on the road and play UConn and DePaul. So you kind of go, okay, split that one. If you can get these next 2, 3-1 in that stretch, not the end of the world.
Doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound too bad.
Because then you have Seton Hall, who's probably the worst team in the league, and Xavier back-to-back at home. Then you go to Villanova and Providence, 2 games that I think are winnable. And then you have that big stretch with Marquette, UConn, St. John's. So, and then we close out against kind of the bottom tier of the conference. So I like our chances. And, depending on what we do in those games, those last 5 games could be for us playing. We could be on the bubble. We could be playing our way into the tournament.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. We want to talk to you also about another great sponsor, Omaha Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Want to thank them for their sponsorship this year. They have a trusted reputation with years of industry experience and solid reputation for excellence. And they have earned the trust and loyalty of homeowners all across Omaha. They have learned my trust because I had windows recently put into my house from Discount Window and Door of Omaha. And I can't tell you how awesome the whole process was from the start to the finish, where they sit down with the designs of their windows, they measure them out, they come back and measure them again, the installer talks to you about what's going to happen, and they come out and snap of the finger, they are done. Tremendous service all up and down. So check them out. That's Discount Window and Door of Omaha. You'll be glad you did. John and the team over there do a fantastic job. All right, let's get to some of our features. First up, worst call of the night. Didn't really see one out there. I'll tell you one that went Creighton's way. Ashford traveled on that play. He called timeout.
That's fair. There was also that you brought that up in the first half. There was something. I don't remember the exact time, but there was. I forget who got the foul. Ashford actually got his first foul, wraparound, but I felt like he traveled. Defender or Marquette player. But whatever. I thought it was a great.
I felt there was like 3 or 4 travels on the Marquette end. Yeah. Like they let it go.
I would say that as a whole, just basketball right now, they're a little lenient right now on that extra step and just kind of that.
Because I even thought Fedor was going to get away with not getting called for travel on that one.
Yeah.
But Ashford definitely, like you can see the replay, he moved his pivot foot and it went to the other foot, then called timeout and they gave it to him, which was a little bit crazy. But yeah, there was several like that.
I thought it was a decent, fair.
Yeah, I mean,
fair
it didn't affect the game, but just it's hard when you're playing a team like Marquette with their physicality.
Absolutely.
You always, that's a tough game to ref, right?
It is, and like us being individuals don't foul, it's kind of something that I think that works in our favor sometimes too, because then you can be a little more physical, which I think we need to start being at times, because now you're going to start getting the benefit of the doubt majority of the time too. So I'm just anxious to see how that plays out the rest of the season.
Then unsung hero tonight. It's a tough one tonight. It's not easy like it has been.
No, it's not the easiest. I'm gonna actually probably just go with Ash. In all honesty, coming off 10 turnovers, being able to kind of cut that down to being one of the most physical games, and being able to man the ship. Granted he didn't shoot what he wanted to from 3, but he was the leader, right? In a lot of sense that. I don't think the game is as close as it is, even with him shooting.
Yeah, we had so many guys in doubles tonight that it's hard to really get a true unsung. But I think maybe if I'm going to go way off the radar a little bit, I think we talked about earlier, Isaac, I think.
That's fair.
Gave some really good effort out there tonight, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah. He did.
And, he had at 1-3 was like in and out. I mean, he's right there.
Oh, yeah.
We can just drain a couple of them. Things go a lot better for us, obviously.
Yeah.
But, we've got some guys that are contributing, and I'd even almost wanted to go with Mason a little bit just because he showed some aggressiveness tonight. He got 5 rebounds, and that's the kind of play we need from him going forward.
Absolutely. And that's going to, ultimately get some confidence rolling the right way. But to your point, I like Trout. Trout. Just the way he's feeling the comfort, I guess, now. And like you said, on the defensive end, he did do some good things, especially when he was put in some bad positions.
It was a little probably much for Shane tonight.
Yeah.
With that pressure.
Absolutely. As we saw, Ash was kind of playing at half court sometimes, but when Shane got in, there was times where they saw blood in the water, right? And that's just what it is at the end of the day. And, sometimes it's, they take your lunch. Sometimes, you take theirs. But tonight it seems they took his. So some of that's just going to come back to getting back in the gym, too, with him. And, he's somebody that's nice and steady. And I think, too, he's going to help us out going forward.
So if I'd have told you Pop Isaacs was going to be out for the year after Kansas game, we're 9-6 right now.
Yep.
What's your kind of read on this team? Like, are they okay where they are? Are they,
I think they're in a decent spot. Like you said, no Pop. Georgetown kind of hurts a little bit, definitely, especially starting the season off. But being able to kind of get some of these last few that we've gotten, and being out on the road with some unexperienced individuals as well. Right, I think that's going to come and come to fruition at the end of conference play. That, as you said, you touched on those last 5. That we could definitely probably walk away with 3 out of 5 of those for sure, and potentially 1 out of 2 of those big ones at home between Marquette and UConn. That I think puts us in a decent position to be at least on that bubble. If not, the Big East getting in, maybe potentially 5, this year. If Georgetown continues to play at this level that they're playing at. But I think we're at a decent position, knowing where we are and just how the season started, and Green getting the lower leg injury at the beginning of the year, that too put his confidence in somewhat of a bind that now put our 3 and our 4 in somewhat of that weird cycle. That it's just been a lot of ups and downs too that we have to manage, from sicknesses to injuries. That
you look at them. We had Kalk injured. We had Ash injured.
Yeah, that just like I'm to where we are today. It's like granted we were top 15 preseason, but a lot of the storms we weathered. With the adversity.
And that was with Pops. I mean, if you said Pop was not going to be in it, this wouldn't be a top 15.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
absolutely not. Absolutely. And not even to say, but absolutely, I think he adds a lot.
And
different dynamic.
we can, Max teams have traditionally, had this lull in this part of the season.
Yep.
They'll get a surprise late in January, and then February comes around, and that's when they start rolling.
Yep. Some of that's just tired legs, and as the roster starts to thin a little bit too, that's some of that's just being tired, some of that's fatigue, right? That to your point, this 8 days probably going to be great, generally. We all know, the January, February slump that Mac generally has. That some of that just comes with fatigue, and I think this will be a good 8 days to finally get a refresher and get things going.
Well, I want to thank all you for listening tonight. Please hit that subscribe and like button. It helps us out a ton. Our next post game will not be for 8 days. Wow. It'll be a week from tomorrow after the Butler game. It's a noon start, East Coast time, 11 o'clock start. Boy, have we been down this road with Butler before, huh? 11 a.m. starts.
Oh, yeah.
That sun comes shining through the windows.
Yeah, we're in that farmhouse.
Yep.
You like that.
Love it.
You like that.
But it is a Butler team that, we can handle. They've had some tough losses here getting into Big East play. So McCafferty, a guy we should be familiar with a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Kayla Clark will be in the house. There you go.
Okay.
So I've just talked to Don out there. He's heading to the Butler game. I was telling him about all the cool things about Butler. You got to go around, look at all the pictures. It's a pretty neat environment.
Got to check the Bulldog out on the way out.
Oh my gosh.
Got to.
So we were able to a couple of years ago. We went and did our post-game show at a radio station there in Indy. So the day before, I had connection with the SID at Butler, and he let us come in a day early and look around. And we're walking by the SID office, and there's Blue, man. He's sleeping on the floor. It's great. But I tell people this all the time. Like at Butler has the best fight song. Like they have a great pre-game thing going on. But it's not like a big arena, so there's not these big concourses to go through. There's these little aisles, and everybody's running out. It's just mass. Would you describe just mass chaos before when the game's going on?
I think there's a concession stand near the locker room.
Yes, there is. I was there getting something to drink, and the players went running by me. And the Bulldogs out there, and it's a great atmosphere. It is, especially on a Saturday at noon game there. It's really cool. So it's exciting. So anyway, we'll be here after that game right here at Let It Fly. Check Let It Fly out. I don't know. There might be kind of a huge football game on Sunday night. I don't know. That's what my sources tell me. There's going to be a big game that maybe I should watch. And then, hey, we're getting into playoff season, right?
Oh, yeah.
We got, we're wrapping up the bowl games now. We got the big FCS game on Monday night, North Dakota State and Montana State. And then Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, come down here. You can watch the first TGL golf.
Oh, yeah. We're pretty high up on
match.
We're pretty high on that.
We are. Boy, this thing better turn out because we.
Well, it was supposed to come last year, and then they had the hurricane or whatever that happened, and then it tore down the arena and things. But I think it's at a good place now.
To be fair, we've promoted it more than ESPN has.
That's fair. That's fair.
Which I just blows my mind. Like during these football games, why aren't they
It's taking money away from PGA. Let's just keep it honest.
So many people I've talked to have no idea that this is going on.
They want their pros playing. It's the first tournament right now, right? Century?
Yeah.
Yep. So they want their players probably playing on tour right now, and a lot of the top guys are playing in TGA.
I know, but they fly home. But a lot of them don't play the Hawaiian Open, so they fly home.
Aren't playing anyways right now, though. But
yeah, if you didn't make the tour, Tiger's ready to go. Yeah. So these are the best pros in the world. So check it out too. We'll have a full review of it.
Yeah, I like that.
A week from tomorrow after the postgame.
I like that.
All right. Thanks, Dustin. Hey, make sure you hit that subscribe button again. Thanks so much. But anyway, get down here and let it fly. Great place to just come down and have a meal. It's just fabulous food and fabulous atmosphere, and of course the home of the Let It Fly beer. So stop by here, and then we will see you a week from tomorrow. Thanks, folks.